Well, President Barack Obama made an economic statement today focusing on that fiscal cliff we're hearing so much about. And according to our government, it could put the U.S. back into a recession and then bring Canada down along with it. And that, of course, is a serious concern. The term is made up of two main parts. One is the Bush-era tax cuts, which expire at the end of the year, triggering higher tax rates. Then comes the more than $1 trillion in mandatory budget cuts, including defense spending. The only way to avoid this cliff is for Democrats and Republicans to agree on a budget plan. President Obama wants the House Republicans to immediately pass a bill that would extend tax cuts for middle-class Americans while allowing tax hikes for wealthier people.
We can't just cut our way to prosperity. If we're serious about reducing the deficit, we have to combine spending cuts with revenue. And that means asking the wealthiest Americans to pay a little more in taxes. That's how we did it in the 1990s when Bill Clinton was president. That's how we can reduce the deficit while still making the investments we need to build a strong middle class and a strong economy.
On Wednesday, I outlined a responsible path forward to avert the fiscal cliff without raising tax rates. About 24 hours after I spoke, the Congressional Budget Office released a report showing that the most harmful consequences of the fiscal cliff come from increasing tax rates. Everyone wants to get our economy moving again. Everyone wants to get more Americans back to work again. Raising tax rates will slow down our ability to create the jobs that everyone says they want.
So the big question here is, what does all of this mean for Canadians? We know the finance minister, the prime minister, and the governor of the Bank of Canada are all concerned about the fiscal cliff and the impact it could have here. So we're joined right now by Nick Bontis, who, of course, is a financial expert. We turned to him on the Bontis on Business on Friday. So, Nick Bontis here, can our economy survive another recession, and are you concerned about what's happening stateside right now?
Well, the first thing is, am I concerned? Yes, I am. Being as the U.S. goes, Canada goes, we walk around the world hand in hand. So if they go down, chances are we're going to suffer. Let's not forget, 4 out of every dollars of anything we export or sell, the U.S. buys. So our economies are very much intertwined. So the question about whether I'm concerned, yes, I am concerned. Will Canada survive? I think they will. We're a little different than the U.S., where you have political stability here. Our banking system is stronger. So even though we'll suffer, I don't think it's going to be a dive over a cliff for Canadians.
Now, Nick, earlier in the year, this phrase was really coined by Ben Bernanke, the chair of the U.S. Federal Reserve. He called it the fiscal cliff. Some people have suggested that fiscal slope would be a more appropriate term because fiscal cliff just sounds so scary. I mean, nobody wants to go down a cliff. A slope would obviously be much easier. So the markets appear to be reacting to this as well. Do you think this is alarming, and should they even use a term like fiscal cliff?
Yeah, but it's the Americans, man. It's all marketing, Do you remember
True.
12 years ago when everybody was all up in arms about Y2K? Watch out, January 1, everything's going to blow up, and nothing really happened. So by using the word fiscal cliff, you get everybody's attention. But you know what, the thing that bothers me is, the U.S. is the global leader, the smartest economy. They put a man on the moon. They have the best technology. They're still counting votes in Florida from Tuesday's election. So on the one hand, they think they know how to solve all the world's problems. On the other hand, they're suffering. With this one, Obama's got a big challenge ahead of him.
All right, so the big question for all Canadians who are checking their RSPs or their bank accounts and wondering what's going on, do Canadians, Nick, do you think they need to be worried about their RSPs and where the markets are going to be going in the coming months as they look for this solution?
Actually, I think this is good news. The fact that the fiscal cliff word's being used a lot forces Canadians to look at their own accounts. So, frankly, I think this is great advice. Go see your financial planner. Go to your bank. When you're working with your employer, if you have a pension fund with your employer or an RSP matching deal with your employer, ask the questions. How is your investment doing? At the end of the day, no one's going to take care of your money except you. And at minimum, this fiscal cliff is raising the profile of investing and our retirements for everybody involved. Good time next week. First thing, my advice to all the viewers, find out what's going on with your retirement funds.
All right, some pretty good advice there, of course, from Nick Bontis. Bontis on Business, thanks so much for being here, Nick, and helping us sort out a little bit more about this fiscal cliff we're hearing so much about.